Good day. Welcome to On the Edge, brought to you by BotKeeper. My name is Dave Bergstein. I'm your host today. And today I'll call him a super special guest because I'm Dave Bergstein. And my guest today is a non-relative, Laurence Bernstein, CPA. Welcome to On the Edge, Larry. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Dave.
It's a pleasure to have you. I've known Larry, I guess, probably somewhere between 8 to 10 years when he was a fledgling accountant, even though when I met him, he wasn't a fledgling accountant. He was running the client accounting advisory services for a top 100 firm, and for his full-time job, and then for his part-time job, they made him do the tax department too. So I'm probably going to guess that's why he decided to start his own thing. Larry, you started a firm from scratch. How many years ago?
Yeah, so the firm started in December of 2019, just 3 months or so before COVID. So it was a challenging time to start a new business, but that's what we did, and it's worked out so far.
And you started probably with very little revenue, I'm guessing, and you didn't really start what I'll call a traditional CPA firm. So can you tell our listeners how you were on the edge and what you called your firm and what was the purpose and how you started and about, how much revenue in the past couple of years?
Yeah, sure. So I think, one of the things that we've decided to lead with is client accounting services, which also includes the technology implementations for accounting systems and the whole ecosystem around that. And then with it, we bring tax expertise for both income tax advisory and compliance, and also finance with budgeting, forecasting, and planning. So really budget to actual, helping business owners and the office of the CFO figure out where they should go next. So accounting is the past, do that well with technology and process. Finance is the future, what's gonna happen, and how can we kind of predict and plan for that. And then of course, every business has tax, whether at the individual level through a pass-through or at a corporate level.
That's pretty good, but you chose not to be the traditional CPA firm. You chose to lead. What was the name of? What did you create the name of your firm, which I didn't tell anybody yet?
Sure. So I mean, originally I had a silly name that we came up with, but when I brought on a partner, we merged our firms together. Yeah, a year after I had started, and the name of the firm is Proseer. It's like a professional seer. A seer is someone who can help see the future or see around corners, and we're trying to help our clients eliminate surprises, and so they feel comfortable in what they're doing and can set themselves up for growth in the best possible way.
Right, because I think you advertise expert financial guidance for mid-sized businesses and entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, yep.
And as you said, you lead with client accounting services. So how do you attract your first couple of clients? How'd you get them, out of curiosity?
Well, the first couple of clients I brought with me out of a non-compete from my old firm. And then after that, it was all pretty much word of mouth. I think a lot of people, myself included, I thought it would be much easier to acquire clients on the internet, whether it's through paid ads or something like this. But it turns out that's not so easy. I know there have been many success stories, but in general, I think the traditional way of bringing on clients, which is relationship-based and referral, has worked best for us.
Okay, and I know you're like over a 7-figure firm at this particular point in time, in a short period of time. So you've gone from how many people to, what do you think, you said 14 now?
Yeah, so I mean, everything of course started with just me. Then when we hired an associate, and then my partner and I joined forces a year later. But fast forward to today, and we have 14 people. We plan to add maybe 4 more in the next few months. And our team is split half in the United States and half in the Philippines.
Okay, so are those your employees in the Philippines, or is it an outsourced shop?
Yeah, so they work directly for us.
Okay, so makes it interesting. Tell me a little bit about the technology. How do you put the technology together, and what do you do for a typical client in creating their tech stack?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, the intersection of accounting and technology is really one of my passions and the thing that kind of gets my juices going. And how do we do it for clients? It depends on the level of complexity. Some businesses, we can look at it and just make a decision within an hour call and go ahead and implement. But other businesses are more complicated, or maybe the owner doesn't know where they want to go. or maybe they have bad accounting records. And when any of those situations happen, what we do is we do a paid assessment. And what that entails is it's an engagement where we typically will process map many areas of the business. We'll do it on screen in a screen share, and we'll actually draw the charts, and we'll be interviewing while we do that many of the key stakeholders from the client's organization. And by doing that, we map out what is the current state of the business today, and then ideally, what would it be able to look like in the future? And then once we have that laid out, then we think about, well, what technology are we going to implement, and what rules are we going to put in place, and what configuration choices will we make? Same time, we also look at the accounting records if it's not a new business start, and we see, does what they already have work, or do we need to redo some of the past and clean things up?
So are you an expert on a lot of different accounting softwares, or do you have your clients pick a particular core accounting product that you build around?
Yeah, so I think, it's a very interesting choice when you're building a firm, if you're gonna be a jack of all trades or if you're gonna try to narrow the stack. And I think there are pros and cons to both choices, but the one that we chose to do is to narrow in on 2 GL packages. So for most companies, it's QuickBooks Online. But for some companies that have a more complex need, we also are Sage Intacct accounting partners. And so with that, we can license and implement and then maintain Sage Intacct, which is a mid-market ERP and NetSuite competitor for clients.
Okay, and so everybody's pretty much on Sage Intacct?
No, definitely not. I think we have like a pretty good split from like a revenue perspective between the two, and obviously the Sage Intacct clients are going to be a lot higher revenue, more complex, usually multi-entity, and so there's going to be fewer total clients on Intacct, but they're a big piece of the total pie.
Okay, and when you get a client, how far automated do you make them? Do you make them automated from transaction to GL, or just part of the way?
Well, I mean, I think automation is a funny word. We use a lot of technology in process, which does reduce the amount of manual work. So in some ways that is automation, but does it do everything itself without us looking at it? No, I mean, that would be like fully automated. So we're not doing things where nobody gets involved, because the reality is that many accounting transactions require judgment. They require things that are more than just bank feed data. They require contracts. They require capitalization policy. There's a number of examples of times when there's not sufficient source data to fully automate something all the way to the financial statements.
Okay, you sound like you're thinking all ends of it. When you do their pain assessment, is that a free service, or
No,
you charge?
No, sorry. I didn't say pain assessment. I said paid assessment.
Okay,
So,
I thought it was paid. Okay, when you do the pain assessment, I guess they pay for it.
Yes, absolutely. It's a very valuable service. And one of the other things that we do there is we deliver a report. We give them all of these process map charts, or the kind of like flow charts, and then they can decide if they want to move forward with us to implement our recommendations. Or we haven't had anybody do this, but part of the sales pitch is they could take that document to anybody else to then go ahead and either implement it themselves or implement it, with another partner.
Okay. And are most of these coming by, as you've built up, by word of mouth from other clients, or from?
Yes. Yeah, word of mouth from other clients and from other professionals. So sometimes, it'll be from lawyers or investment advisors, other clients. We've actually had some success from real estate agents sending us business, which is kind of funny, but people move and then they're looking for help. Yeah.
Well, that's really how I built my practice up when I first started. I volunteered to speak to real estate agent groups on how to do their taxes, and they ended up recommending people to me on there. So real estate agents are a good source of people moving into an area.
Yeah, I would have never thought that would have been it. It also happens to be, I think, when people are having a transaction in their life. So if someone's selling their business and potentially has a big capital event, that may be time to upgrade accountants, and we've seen that happen a couple of times recently.
And for your own firm, do you have a core technology stack that you work on? What's your primary main piece of software or main technology tool that you use to know what's going on.
Yeah, you're talking about to run the firm, not our
Right.
client engagements, right? Yeah. Yeah, so to run the firm, we use a work management system from Karbon. We're big fans of Karbon. I started the firm with Karbon with just one user. I don't know if they'll sell with just one user, but I begged them and they did do that for us. And what I really like about it is their email triage function. So you don't need to necessarily file emails away. They can be tagged to work items and spawn new work items. Email is the tool that's not the perfect tool, but it's a tool that everybody has, right? Kind of like text message. Everybody has text message. Well, email everybody has too. So we use Karbon for that and for tracking all of our work and obligations. And then we have many other tools, whether it's CCH Access for tax and cloud-based, Microsoft 365 to run everything there. And there's many other tools on the periphery that are important. Happy to talk about any of those.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. I have these debates with people between the Google camp and the Microsoft camp. And Microsoft seems to be more the mid-sized to the larger firm, and Google on the other side for the smaller firms. But it goes both ways depending on where the status is, from what I can
I
see.
think it's just like a level of comfort. I think most people who are in the Google environment will, in our field, will probably still end up subscribing to Microsoft for the Office suite. So if you're already going to buy Office, then it kind of makes sense, unless you really are diehard Google, to just go everywhere, all the way on Microsoft. But I think in many ways the services are comparable on other levels.
Right. And since you said you use the Microsoft Suite and Microsoft Office 365, I'm guessing, have you added Copilot to your list of tools?
Yeah, so I personally have a Copilot license. Nobody else in our group does. I've been underwhelmed, unfortunately. I've been really hoping it was going to do something great. The coolest thing I've done so far with it really is a party trick, like to make like a PowerPoint presentation out of a Word document or something like that. But to be honest, we really don't make PowerPoint presentations all that much. So I found other uses for AI and other systems much better than the Copilot as it stands today.
Okay, now just looking for feedback. I appreciate it. I'm going to ask you a question I haven't asked anybody else yet. And it's sort of a topical question, and it's really being on the edge. You do anything with beneficial ownership interest, BOI, which is starting to get publicized now?
Yeah, funny enough, we actually originally resisted, hey, let's have lawyers or clients figure this out on their own. Is this unlicensed practice of law? There was lots of discussion about that. But at the end of the day, now that BOI is here, it's not going to be overturned or removed, and we only have a couple of months left to comply. We decided we definitely need a solution to be able to support clients who we provide this like concierge level accounting and tax offering to. So I think some clients will still do it themselves, and that'll be the default assumption. But for those who just expect us to handle everything, we did end up buying a software tool that'll allow us to e-file and quickly prepare these forms and submit them to FinCEN.
Okay, and the reason I asked that question is, of course, accounting firm, it's just starting to get publicized all over the place. It's been around for a while, but now as we're getting towards the end of the year, and I think Barry Malance on one of his last statements was, no one's going to accuse accountants of the practice of law from what he hears at this point in time. And if it does change, it's not going to be retroactive. So as an advisor to your clients, it's just one other thing that you're advising them to do, whether they do it or you do it for them.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is this is a lot like 1099s, like nobody cares, but we have to do it. And so also clients don't really value it, right? It's not something I think that many clients are interested in paying $300, $500, $800 for us to do. And so for those reasons, it's really important to try to have them do it themselves, because it's really not hard. But if they don't want to do it, then to make it very easy for us to get it done ourselves.
Okay. Now, while I'm putting you on the defensive or offensive with questions, and you're coming across great from where you started to building a great firm, what do you see down the line for accounting firms? Will they be CPA firms? Will they be non-CPA firms? Will they be a combination? I know private equity is coming in heavy and hard, and all these larger firms, and now it's getting down to medium, they're dividing themselves in half. One half is becoming the professional service side, and the other side is the audit side. Do you guys
Right.
do audits, or you stay away from them?
So we stay away. We don't do any attest work. We do prepare financial statements under the SARS and SARS 21. But because we don't do attest work, we really don't have that issue of the split. Today, we are a licensed CPA firm, primarily because it was just easy and of something I understood and knew when we set up the firm. But I actually don't know if we need to be a licensed CPA firm for anything that we do. Now, of course, individually, we like being CPAs so that we can represent clients in front of the IRS. And it also, I think, provides other clients where we're not doing tax, just some level of comfort and sophistication that we know what we're doing when it comes to implementing an accounting system or being the fractional CFO or controller, if you will. But I don't think there's really very much that we need to be a CPA firm for.
No, I agree with you. I think having the CPA like you do, it just presents that other level of trust, and you stand out of the crowd by having that license. And I think as time goes on and they change the rules, we're going to start to see more people want to become CPAs again because the bar to take the exam is being changed, and I think that'll affect everyone. But I agree with you. Do you have to be a CPA firm? Probably not, but having the CPA license is definitely a plus when you're looking to get clients along the line. Where do you see your firm 5 years from now?
I think 5 years is almost a little bit too far to think about, but certainly if we look at maybe 2 or 3 years, we'll probably have doubled in size, maybe more. The growth rate is pretty great, and trying to put all the pieces together to make it so that clients maintain a great experience as we do that is challenging, but something we spend a lot of time on, my partner and I. There's just a tremendous amount of opportunity all over the place. There are more and more businesses. The demographics within CPAs with the great retirement is real. And also the mergers and acquisition space is making the bigger firms larger, and some of the smaller competitors, like the smaller regional firms, kind of disappear. So I think it leaves a pretty big void for firms like ours to be able to pick the best clients.
And do you think firms of your size will continue? And I'm asking that question because I want to encourage other people to bring more entrepreneurship and grow their firms. Do you think you're like at the right size, 20, eventually 14 to 50 people, somewhere along the line?
Well, I mean, right now we're in like a very awkward teenage phase at 14 people. I think I've heard some other people say that when you get to about 25 people, you finally have enough seats that can have their own specific roles, where there's not just tremendous shared responsibility in the same person. And so I look forward to seeing how that will map out as we get up to maybe another 4 or 5 people, where my partner and I aren't doing like every administrative tasks. But I think it'll be interesting really to see what the right size will be.
Okay, no, I appreciate you being on and talking about your firm and what's happening with your firm. If someone wanted to reach out to find out more about a paid assessment or find out more looking to you as a mentor somewhere along the line, how would people reach you?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is probably the best way. You can find me. My name is Laurence Bernstein, Laurence Bernstein on LinkedIn. You can also visit our website, proseer.co.
And it's proseer.io, right?
No, .co. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, somebody had the .com. We tried to get it. It's a long story. Anyway, we're .co.
But hey, I'm sure you're reachable. Any last things you want to say to people before we move on?
No, I mean, I think it's a very exciting space. There are tons of options for things to look at to improve your client accounting services offerings, and also to make your life much easier and wow clients. So I think that's the thing that's most exciting for me, besides building the firm and being an entrepreneur, but on the client service side. And I love chatting about it. So.
No, I think you've done a great job. Again, I followed your career from when I first met you at that large firm, and that wasn't your first large firm either. You moved from one to the other there, and now you got your own thing going. And I wish you the best of luck in the future. And if anybody wants to find him, you know how to find him on LinkedIn or on the web. Thank you, Mr. Bernstein, for joining us today.
Thank you, Mr. Bergstein. Talk to you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.